Alrighty, one, two, three, and we're going live. Hello, hello, everyone.
Hello.
Alrighty, this is Matt
Mhm.
and Ayumi. We are
Yes.
a Japanese and Canadian couple from Vancouver, BC, Canada, and Okinawa, Chatham, Japan. Alrighty,
Yes, exactly.
I have a background in applied linguistic science and psycholinguistics, and I've
Mhm.
been working with languages both in Japan and Canada for the last 17 years.
Mm.
And Ayumi is my boss.
Yes.
Alrighty. And so today we're gonna tackle a couple of very, very important distinctions about Japanese language. So if you are a mixed couple, like we are, Canadian, Japanese, American, Japanese, boyfriend, girlfriend from two different parts of the world, but for some reason you ended up here in Okinawa and you need to speak Japanese in your
Mhm.
household, or you feel you would like to improve your Japanese language, but it's kind of boring and annoying how people
Mhm.
do it, and you don't know where to start or where to continue to progress what you already have, then
Mhm.
this YouTube channel will be definitely helpful for you, and stick around
Mhm.
and see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Today, two things. Number
Mhm.
one, what is the Japanese language in
Mhm.
comparison to English language?
Okay.
What kind of type of the language is the
Mhm.
Japanese language? Number two, particles.
Particle.
No secrets about the particles. Okay,
Mhm.
so right from the bat, right in the beginning, if you are English native speaker, if you are
Mhm.
American, Canadian, Anglophone,
Mhm.
then it's very, very important to realize what is your mother tongue,
Yeah.
from the grammar structure point of view, how it
Mhm.
works.
Mhm.
Because then when you look at your target language,
Mhm.
and today we talk about the Japanese language,
Yeah.
you need to also understand how different it is,
Mhm.
and with what are you going to approach this language.
Mhm.
So that helps to create distance and contrast.
Mhm.
So for instance, English language, it's a position language
Yes,
type. It's
exactly.
especially grammar. It's a position type grammar in English
Mhm.
language. Now, on the other hand, Japanese language is classified as a agglutinative or agglutinative language.
Mhm.
What that means, I don't want to use
Mhm.
the big words, but that's the
Yeah.
term and I have to say it.
Sure.
Agglutinative language means synthetic.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
what it means specifically, without big linguistic words,
Mhm.
it means this. Imagine you take a Lego block.
Mhm.
You take a small Lego block and
Mhm.
you add another Lego block part to this. And this is
Mhm.
how you create the whole Japanese grammar tenses
Mhm.
and grammar structures.
Mhm.
Um, and we are going to dive into something really, really exciting that most of the cram schools,
Mhm.
when they offer Japanese language classes, both in Okinawa and
Mhm.
mainland Japan, they actually don't teach about this.
Okay.
Um, so here's the point.
Mhm.
Um, Everybody starts Japanese language by acquiring the set of syllables, right?
Mhm.
Hiragana or katakana.
Yes. Mhm.
And I'm saying, I strongly insist on saying
Mhm.
here set of syllables. I'm not calling
Mhm.
this alphabet,
Mhm.
because alphabets are sets of letters, and the Japanese
Mhm. Mhm.
recognize only five vowels that are letters: a,
Yeah.
I, U, E, O. And that
Mhm.
order, specifically a, I, U, E, O order,
Mhm.
is something that contains the whole
Mhm.
agglutination. So this is what
Okay.
the craft schools don't talk about and they don't teach. If
Mhm.
you learn only hiragana
Mhm.
and you focus only on writing those
Mhm.
syllables, you are
Yes.
really missing on understanding the agglutination. And we're gonna focus today
Mhm.
on a, I, U, E, O, but not as a writing, as
Mhm.
a very different perspective, as a agglutination forms, because
Mhm.
not today and not in the next video here, not in the next sequence here, but through
Okay.
entire Japanese grammar, you will be talking about 5 forms. You will be building your
Okay.
whole Japanese grammar based on a, I, U, E, O. And this is
Mm-hmm.
a first form, I second form,
Mm-hmm.
third form is U, fourth form is E, and fifth form is O. And
Mm-hmm.
here's the interesting way how it's being called,
Mm-hmm.
so you can familiarize yourself with what are you going to create out of those forms. So the
Mm-hmm.
first form a, it's called negation form because you're gonna create negation in
Okay.
Japanese language. Second
Yes.
form e, so ai,
Mm-hmm.
a I u e o,
Mm-hmm.
ai. Second form, it's a connection form. So you're gonna be making connections with your verbs. The
Mm-hmm.
third form is u. Have you ever noticed when you look through the pages of your Japanese textbook or the Japanese English dictionary and you look for some
Mm-hmm.
verbs in Japanese language? Have you ever noticed that all the Japanese verbs in
Mm-hmm.
infinitive form, so
Yeah.
to speak, to work, to exercise, to eat, to drink, to watch, to drive,
Mm-hmm.
that's the infinitive form in English, but in Japanese language, the infinitive form is finished with u. So number three form, a, I, u, it's a negation, first
Mm-hmm.
form, e connection, second
Mm-hmm.
form, u, it's infinitive form.
Okay, so
So that's
dictionary
how you,
meaning. Mm-hmm.
yes, that's the dictionary meaning. That's how you
Mm-hmm.
create the infinitive form. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now we go to number four. So a,
Mm-hmm.
I, U, E. And
E.
so
Mm-hmm.
E is the fourth form. And guess what? That's the equivalent of the English language conditionals. So the
So
whole
if.
grammar
Mm-hmm.
tenses, I'm sorry?
Mm-hmm. So it means if. Then
Yeah,
for.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
All the sentences that we have in English language, that we have conditional zero, one, two, three, and
Yeah.
conditional mix, all the
Mm-hmm.
conditionals in English language, the basic 5 conditionals in English language, you create by 4 form, Lego block 4 form.
Mm-hmm.
So you make the
E.
verb in a 4 form, and and you are adding another Lego block. So you make the agglutination. So you make the
Mm-hmm.
verb block, Lego block plus something else. And
Mm-hmm.
if the Lego block is a form 4
Mm-hmm.
plus something else, that's an agglutination combination, and that's how you
Okay.
create conditional in Japanese language. We'll
Okay.
do some examples in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take one verb and we're gonna run through all the 5 forms.
Sure.
Alrighty,
What's the last
so
one?
five. So a,
Mm-hmm.
I, U, E, O. So
Yes.
number 5 form, it's imperative form, which means order. So
Mm-hmm.
so you will use it to make imperative. You make orders
Mm-hmm.
in Japanese
Yeah.
grammar.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Like I said before, all these a, I, U, E, O,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just a order for memorizing how you write the Japanese hiragana or katakana, but the
Mm-hmm.
specific order of the vowels repeats exactly the same in the next column with the consonants. So when you have the next
Mm-hmm.
consonant K plus the
Yeah.
same order of A, I, U, E, O with the K in front. So you have
Mm-hmm.
Ka, I, Ku, Ke, Ko, and the next column
Yes.
Sa, Si, Su, Se, So,
Mm-hmm.
and the next Ta, Chi, Tsu, Te,
Mm-hmm.
To. This order is very, very um, strictly designed by the agglutination
Mm-hmm.
because your verbs will be finished on that syllable depending on the verb. So
Mm-hmm.
let's take so not to be too theoretical, let's take example of I don't know, to speak. So we have the infinitive to speak in English, so it must be finished on u, so the third form. So if you pages on the S in your dictionary, Japanese English dictionary, and you will find to speak. So it's going to be hanasu, right? So hanasu is a third form, so it's infinitive. And by the way, hanasu doesn't mean I speak. Hanasu doesn't mean you speak. Hanasu means to speak. That's infinitive. All right. So now we want to start from the first form. So like I was saying, a, I, u, e, o. But we have a hanasu. So the last syllable is su. So we have to change to sa, jump to the beginning. So we have sa, shi, su, se, so. That's the column right now that it's agglutination to play with. Okay, so the first form, right? Finish on a, sa. So hana su will change to hana sa. And even if I don't finish here, if I say to you, Ayumi, hanasa, right? You know there is something missing, but you already have connotation. You have already feelings that I'm not going to be saying anything positive.
Negative form.
Right. But it's not finished. It doesn't have a meaning yet. Because it's agglutination. So I have a verb hanasu. I change it to first form hanasa. So I have a one Lego block. Hanasa is one Lego block. Now I have to add another block, which is nai. And now I'm going to say hanasa nai. That's pure agglutination in Japanese language. I just created negation from the verb to speak. So I said basically hanasanai, which means speak. 合ってる？間違えましたか？
合ってる。It's correct.
合ってる。ありがとうございます。Alrighty, so that's how you create negation. Okay, so let's move on. Hanasanai to the next form number 2. So hanashi, right? Because it's a, I, u, e, o, but we are having the verb hanasu. So the last syllable will be sa, first form, shi, second form, su, third form, se, fourth form, so, fifth form. So hanasa, hanashi, hanasu, hanase, hanaso. So the first form, hanasa, nai, two Lego blocks together, negation. Second form, hanashi. So first block. And let's just say we're gonna add too much. So sugiru. So hanashi plus sugiru. Now I said hanashi sugiru. So now I said I speak much.
Yes.
There you go. So that's a connection. Alrighty. Number 3, hanasu. So that's the third form. That's already infinitive. But we can add something else to that too. So we can say, for example, hanasu plus koto ga dekiru. And now we have I'm able to speak, or I can speak. I'm capable of speaking. Hanasu koto ga dekiru. Now we have a longer caterpillar. Now, so that's the agglutination. So we have a one Lego block that is a core, and we add another Lego block. And that's how you create Japanese grammar. That's why the Japanese grammar, using the agglutination type of those Lego blocks, is much easier to comprehend and much easier to get a grip of. Righty, let's go to number 4. So we have hanasa, hanashi, hanasu, and hanase. So conditional. So number 4, hanase plus hanase one Lego block plus ba. Hanase ba. So if I speak, if I would speak, if I spoke, that's the conditional, right? And then the 5th one, hanaso, imperative, right?
Yes.
Like the English, speak up. Go on, speak up. So just a simple example, but that's what we're doing today. We are putting some extra light on how to how to have a better understanding, better comprehension of
Mm-hmm.
how do you tackle, how do you approach Japanese grammar, Japanese language grammar. How do you approach that? You're
Yeah.
not comparing this to SVO versus
Mm-hmm.
SO. No, 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 no. It's a completely different animal. You
Mm-hmm.
are you have to face agglutination.
Mm-hmm.
So don't compare SVO to SOV because this is just a word order that doesn't do anything
Mm-hmm.
good to you. You need to get familiarized. You need to get familiar with you need to familiarize yourself with the five forms. And like I said, it's not going to be
Mm-hmm.
just today. It's not going to be in the next video. The sooner you will get used to first form, negation, second connection, third infinitive, fifth
Mm-hmm.
conditional, fifth imperative order, those five forms. And then
Mm-hmm.
from those five forms of the Japanese agglutination that are hidden in a, I, U, E, O, hiragana, and katakana,
Mm-hmm.
then you can create entire Japanese grammar.
Yeah.
So
So basically, so A, I, U, E, O. This is the key of learning Japanese. Speak Japanese.
Japanese grammar, Ayumi, I would be
Okay.
here very particular. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not trying to be a, smart guy here, but we speak specifically about the grammar. And so speaking Japanese is more than just recognizing these five forms.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna move on right now to particles, and
Okay.
that's also grammar, but that's another part that a lot of Anglophones like myself are
Mm-hmm.
confused. So yes, you're right. If you do the agglutination, if you familiarize yourself with the five forms, a, I,
Mm-hmm.
U, E, O forms that have meaning in grammar, not just
Mm-hmm.
writing hiragana or katakana. If you will discover that this order a, I, U, E, O actually
Mm-hmm.
has a meaning in grammar, and actually it's the whole type of the agglutinative grammar
Mm-hmm.
in Japanese language, and you will be able to fluently switch between first form plus this, second form plus
Mm-hmm.
this, third form plus this, fourth form plus the fifth form plus this. Then
Mm-hmm.
you will be able to speak Japanese grammar automatically without
Mm-hmm.
making mistakes, like Americans, like Canadians speak English without thinking about English grammar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yes, you're right. You're right. Familiarizing yourself and then becoming fluent with making those Lego blocks between
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 form plus another block, that will definitely help people to speak more fluently, faster, smoother, have
Mm-hmm.
a better grip of the Japanese grammar, but specifically grammar, not
Okay.
not not speaking in general in Japanese, because you
Mm-hmm.
need to have way more things
Mm-hmm.
to speak better in Japanese. And um, as you know, when we are working on English language with the Japanese students, this is just a small
Mm-hmm.
digression,
Yeah.
but the Japanese language has kenjo-go, sonke-go, teine-go, kuki-oyomu,
Mm-hmm.
tatemae,
Yeah.
and that's speaking Japanese language, not just the five
Mm-hmm.
forms.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just digressing, but just to expand on what you were implying here.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, so yeah, this is just a introductory, shading some light on uh, on agglutination, what it is, how it's different
Mm-hmm.
from English language, and why it's important.
Okay.
Now, let's move on maybe right now and spend a couple of minutes on particles, because
Mm-hmm.
particles are very, very important, and particles are not the same thing as we tend to think in English language or any other Western languages.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, there are 15, again, same like with Same like with agglutination. In
Mm-hmm.
agglutination, we had 5 forms. That's
Mm-hmm.
the whole picture.
Yeah.
That's all you have to tackle. Now we talk about the articles, big picture.
Mm-hmm.
You have 15 basic particles in Japanese language. Some people will say,
Yeah.
oh my God, so many. But if
Mm-hmm.
you really think about this, you tackle 15 particles, you can
Mm-hmm.
say anything you want in Japanese language.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so big picture, 15 particles,
Mm-hmm.
and you can speak any sentence, you can write any sentence you want in Japanese language. Okay, long story short, what the hell are the particles?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in every sentence in Japanese language, in the end of each word,
Mm-hmm.
there will be a syllable. Always, 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 always written
Okay.
in hiragana.
Mm-hmm.
It will never be written in katakana. It will never be written in kanji. So don't worry
Mm-hmm.
about this. That's already easy. Because it has a function, it has a meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Particles are the syllabes. They will never be a, I, u, e, o. It will be
Mm-hmm.
always wa,
Yeah.
ga, e,
Mm-hmm.
ni, de, ya,
Yeah.
to,
Mm.
ne, ka, kara, made. Did I say ni? There's ni
Yes,
wa
you should.
also.
Yes.
Yeah, so there will be 15 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them, they basically explain relationship between the words. They're always
Oh,
in the end
interesting.
of the word.
Mm-hmm. Interesting relationship with the
Yeah, they
words.
always
Okay.
yeah, they always explain relationship between the words. So if I want to
Mm-hmm.
say very simple in
Mm-hmm.
Japanese, me and my wife Ayumi, I
Mm-hmm.
will say Matt, not even using Japanese words. I will
Mm-hmm.
say Matt to Ayumi.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that means Matt and Ayumi because
Mm-hmm.
to is a particle that the
Yes.
hiragana
Mm-hmm.
uh, to is a particle that explains relationship between two nouns. So I can say America to Nihon, the United
Mm-hmm.
States and Japan. I can say Canada to Okinawa. So
Mm-hmm.
Canada and Okinawa. And I can say, shujin to okusan,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Husband and
Husband and
wife.
wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And so this is very, very important because the 15 particles are actually explaining relationship between the words. And so
Mm-hmm.
this is when we create word order. So this is that stereotypical thinking about Japanese
Mm-hmm.
language is SOV type language. No, 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 it's not a type. The type of the language is agglutinative language. That's a
Mm-hmm.
type of the language because the core of the language is grammar, the rules of how you constitute the meaning in the language. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the agglutinative language.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Japanese. It's not a clean agglutination, but I don't want to go to the
Mm-hmm.
linguistic debate. We just focus on the Japanese. So for the sake of
Sure.
this
Yes.
video,
Mm-hmm.
this is agglutinative language or agglutinative, depending how you want to pronounce it. But so basically, Lego blocks. That
Mm-hmm.
is the Japanese language. Now when we talk about the particles, we talk about the
Mm-hmm.
word order. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, it is SOV type order, but it's a word
Mm-hmm.
order, not type of the language. And the
Mm-hmm.
distinction is very important because like I just said before, there's more than meets the eyes. There's not just SOV. S stands for subject. So there is
Mm-hmm.
a subject particle in
Mm-hmm.
Japanese. That's ga, hiragana
Mm-hmm.
ga. And there is an object, and this is wo, the wo hiragana.
Yeah.
And that's a direct object. and then you have the verb. But verbs don't have um, don't have particles unless you make a question, in which case you put ka at the end, or informally you put no. Then you can make a question too, but that's about it. So, so there's not just SOV, there's a 15 particles that explain relationship between the words. And now if you combine the 15 particles plus the agglutination 5 forms, now we can start learning Japanese language.
Oh, this is the start. This is the
This
beginning.
is the start. This is the start. This is the start. Alrighty. So yeah, I think for just for the beginning, for everyone who is interested in having a good, decent image for, okay, what is the Japanese language? Like I said in the beginning, today we just only start digging into what's the agglutination and give you big frame picture.
Yes.
And next to as soon as you start talking about agglutination and the grammar type of the Japanese language, which is agglutinative type of the language, you have to mention the particles, because those two things, so making the Lego blocks and putting the particles on the right side, so the end of the word, if you write from the left to right, because remember the Japanese write from the left to the right, but they write also from the top to the bottom, right to left, in which case your particles will be on the bottom of the words too. But with that being said, your particles and your agglutination will be always going hand in hand, and you have to become fluent in it. Now, for all of you who are already intimidated because, oh my gosh, agglutination, what is this new concept? We never have it in English. Oh my gosh, 15 particles. What am I supposed to do with that? I don't even know what's the particle in English language. Small hint, no is a negation particle in English as well. So we have them too. We don't use them. We don't have the concept of using particles in English language as the Japanese use in Japanese language, but we don't have agglutination language either as English, so we don't need the necessity of using this. But for all of you who are watching and listening to us and feeling already a little bit intimidated by all this new concept of particles and new concept of agglutination, I have a couple of warm, supportive words. Number one, if you really put a little bit of the work, you can speak daily conversation fluently in Japanese language within 3 to 4 months. Not a long
Quite short.
time. Quite short. 3 to 4 months. Why? A, Japanese language has only two grammar tenses, present and past. There is no grammar future tense in Japanese language. Entire Japanese language grammar does not recognize grammatical future tense. It's only present and past. In comparison, the standard English language has present, past, and future, of course, but the present has 8 usage. The future has 4 usage. Future simple, continuous, future perfect, continuous. And the past also contains 4: past simple, past continuous, past perfect, continuous. I know all the Americans will probably say in Okinawa, what are you talking about? We're not using past perfect. What is that? We just have past simple, past continuous. Guys, with all due respect, I love the States. I have a bunch of friends in the US, both in Canada and the US and here in Okinawa. I'm not, I'm not saying anything against you. All I'm saying is we're looking at the planet Earth, the world, in terms of English language. So if you add 8 usage for present, 4 usage for past, 4 usage for future. You have 16 meanings, 16 usage in past, present, and future in English language. If you compare that to the Japanese, they have equivalent of present simple and past simple, and past simple, past past continuous equivalent, but all you have to tackle is 4, and you're good to go. So that's already easy. So that's one thing. That's one thing. Again, number two, we are talking here about spoken Japanese language, not written. Get to that too. We'll get to hiragana, katakana, kanji, joyo kanji, kanbun, bungo, yoji, jukugo, kotowaza, and also how you have to do onyomi and kunyomi. That's the hard part. That's the hardcore Japanese part. Well, we're not starting from this. I'm just signaling that yes, written Japanese, it's a very different animal, and that's completely different thing. Today we are talking about how to get you going with your Japanese spouse, or your American spouse, when you need to speak both English and Japanese in your household, in your daily life here in Okinawa, and kind of, you're American, you're Canadian, and you need to use Japanese, but it's kind of not as good as you wish to have. And so we start from spoken Japanese language. Really, trust me, 5 forms of agglutination, 15 particles, 2 grammar tenses. Okay, fine, 4 recognized, and we get going. We get going with finding all those concepts about 15 particles, and we start producing those Lego block sequences with the agglutination, and that's your whole Japanese. And within 3-4 months, you will be speaking fluently in spoken Japanese. Also, pronunciation in Japanese language is way easier than English pronunciation. And I'm not talking here about the accent. I'm not talking about Canadian accent, American accent. I'm talking about the amount of the vowels. You have 7 long vowels and 7 short vowels in English language, but you have only 5 vowels in Japanese language, and we already said that it's a, I, u, e, o, and that's it. So, by the way, if you are working in the biggest Air Force base in Honto, Okinawa, just so you know, it's pronounced cadena, cadena. Yeah, Yumi's laughing because when we drive the car and we have a radio station on, and there is the American Eagle radio station on, every American presenter will say Kadena. So today in Kadena we had this and that. We had a Kadena. It's not only about the base. It's what's the small character, small monster in the Japanese subculture. It's Pokemon. It's not Pokemon. It's not. I know that there is a KE. I know it's a KE, and every Anglophone will say it's Pokemon. No, no, no. It's not a Pokemon. It's Pokemon. Okay. If your girlfriend, because we have a friends in Canada, also mixed couple. She's Okinawan, he's Canadian, and her name is Akemi, and of course her Canadian partner will butcher her beautiful Japanese name, calling her Akemi. Okay, Akemi, Akemi just went to the shop, and Akemi, Kakekukeko. So she's Akemi, Pokemon, and Kadena, right? It's just the 5 vowels, guys. It's easy. So agglutination, 5 forms, particles, 15 particles. What else? Four grammar tenses, past simple, past continuous, present simple, present continuous equivalent of English, of course, not
Yeah.
per se the same. And 5 vows, and we're good to go. And we'll be speaking
Mhm.
Japanese in no time. So, so yeah, on that positive note, I think
Mhm.
for our first movie, that should be, I think, sufficient. I think that should be enough. What do you
I
think,
think
Ayumi?
so. Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Right. Alrighty. If you guys have any questions, if you are interested in digging a little bit deeper into the Japanese language, let us know, and we'll be
Yes.
happy to record some more movies and tell you more
Mhm.
about how easy Japanese is and make you
Yeah.
bilingual in Okinawa,
Mhm.
English and Japanese. Why
Yeah.
not?
That sounds cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Alrighty, that's it for today. You have a
Yeah.
great day and talk to you
Mm.
next time. Take care. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Bye.